We talked a lot about class, right? So what exactly is a class? So class is like a blueprint, okay? Blueprint or a template to create something, okay? It is a blueprint or a template to create something. So suppose if you have a car, okay? Let us take a simple example, car. So when we say car, we are not saying what type of car it is, right? We are just saying car. It could be any car. Okay, so it could be any type of car or any color of car. Okay, so every class will have some properties. Okay, this template, right? This template will have some properties, like it will have some thing like a name of the car, the color of the car. Okay, and how do we define this in the class? So as we have seen the public static class, and then we define the variables. So suppose name is a string, right? For that we define string name semicolon. Then color also will be string color. And then we can give the model number, okay? Model number. It could be some integer, right? So for that we use int. Okay, so these are the properties of this class. Okay, so these are the properties of this class. So basically classes like in Java we can consider as nouns basically, like we are defining something. Okay, we are defining a blueprint of an object. Okay, the class other examples could be like we could have a class for a house. Okay, we could have class for an employee. Okay, and employee again could be any type of employee, right? For that we will define some properties on how to identify the different employees. We will have the name, we will have their designation, something like that. Okay, employee is the class and it has some properties, and based on these properties we can differentiate the different employees. Okay, similarly house. Okay, house can have some properties like the house number, number of floors. Okay, type of house. Okay, such entities we call them as class and we define them as class in Java. Okay, now we have this class. So let us understand what are objects. Okay, so objects in Java are nothing but the objects created from the class. So these are objects, those are created from a class. So as we saw, name, color and model number. So what we can do is we can create an object of a car, okay, with some name, color and model number. Or we can create an object of a house. We can create an object of an employee. So objects are also called as instances. Okay. So when we write a public class something, okay, public class car, nothing is, I mean, it's not created in the memory. Okay, so suppose if you have something like this is your memory, consider for now. So when you just define the class, so there is some template of it somewhere. Okay, it's not created in the memory. What we create in the memory is the objects or instances, right? So now how do we create the object? So suppose if I create an object of car, so what I can do is I'll use the new keyword. Okay, new car, and then I will give some name of the car, Tesla, some color, blue, and then some model. Okay, suppose 2024. Okay, in this way we can create the car object. Now when you just write this new car, so when the execution comes to this line, so then what it does is it will create the object of car. Okay, so it takes this template and then it applies this constructor values and it will create in the memory. Okay, so let us write this in the IDE so that it will be more meaningful for you to understand. So in our previous package, now let us create a car class. Okay, so this is the car class, and then we can add some properties to it, like model, okay, integer year. Okay, so as I mentioned, these are the properties of that object, and then this is the constructor. So basically in Java, whatever is the name of the class, we should have a method, or not a method, if we have a method declaration with the same name. So it is not a method declaration, but this is called a constructor. Okay, it's not, we are not defining any return type, not even void. Okay, so this is the constructor, and what we are saying, whenever a car object is created, we will pass the model and the year, and then this will be set. Okay, so what do we mean by this? This means for the object that is getting created, for this object, okay, not for any other object. Okay, and this comes into picture when we have a hierarchy of classes. Okay, that we will see later on. So as of now, this means for this object, and this dot year, for this year you set whatever year we are passing. So suppose if I change this name XYZ and XYZ, then I need to assign that to the attribute, to the object state, right? Okay. So now we are assigning, we are creating the car object. This constructor will construct the car object. So now how do we create this? So let us go back to our main method. Okay, now what we will do here is we are going to create the object of car. Let us name it as car object, and then we have to use the new keyword, new car, and then we will give some name. What are the attributes that we have? Model and the year. Okay, so Tesla model S, then we can give 2024, something like this. Okay, okay, it is giving compilation error because it is a string integer constructor and not a string. So I have given this double quotes, and that means that I want it to be a string, but it's actually an integer here. Okay, so in this way we can create the car object. Okay, now this line will actually will take up some memory space and create this object for us. Now let us say this is the first object. Similarly, we can create another object. Okay, second car object, we can change the number. In this way we can create multiple objects. Okay, now these constructors are nothing but they are the builders of the blueprint, whatever it is. Okay, so this is the blueprint, this car object with its two attributes, and this is the the work of this constructor is to build an instance out of this blueprint. Okay, so this is a basic Java, and we generally always call such classes as plain old Java objects. Okay, having a car and then having the name of a class and then some attributes. Okay, and then the constructor. So these are the basic objects that we create, and then we use these objects and then work on these objects. So we could have like a multiple methods here. So let us understand that. Now let us understand what are methods. Okay, so suppose this car object, it could have some methods like public void start engine. Okay, and there is some logic here on how to start the engine. Okay, and then it could have public void, or it could return something. So we will go deep into what method does. Okay, string, suppose uh, get the year of this car. Okay, if we want to display it somewhere. Okay, and it has to return the year. Okay, okay, year is integer, so let us return the int here. Okay, so these are nothing but methods. So basically, we do not write all of this logic in classes, but then we write them in a different type of classes, like interfaces we call them, that we will go over in some time. But then yeah, these are the methods. Our main is also a method or a function. So basically any function is like it takes some input. So suppose public string get name. Okay, so yeah, so a method will take some input in this brackets. So if you see our main method is taking some string arguments as input, right? Similarly, our constructor has taken some input. Okay, so this whatever we write in this two brackets, right, that is the input to the method, and whatever we are writing here before the method name, that is the output that this method will give. So basically these methods are like functions. So they take some input, they do some operations on it, and then they will give some output. Or they can take some input and then consume that input, like do something but not return anything. In that situation we mention void. It is mandatory to mention what the method is returning. Either if it's not returning anything, void, or either integer, okay, or long. So long is like a big integer, you can consider a big value, or a float. Okay, this is a decimal value, or a double. So this you can consider as a big decimal value. Okay, for now let's keep it as integer. Okay, and whatever you see here in pink, right, those are keywords. You cannot use them as method name. So for example, I cannot use void as my method name. Okay, that is a keyword in Java. You cannot use it as a method name. So method name is something that we can customize as per our needs. Okay, and the ones that you see here in pink are the keywords. New is a keyword. You cannot have a method name as new because that is reserved as a keyword. Okay, and then it is giving this error because we are not returning anything. Okay, so then this method will do some operation and then we can return some string here, and every line needs a semicolon. Okay, we are returning integer. Let us change this to string. Okay, so these are nothing but methods. They take some input, operate, and then give some output. We call them as methods. So we can write some method or function like add numbers. Okay, let us see how we can do this. And here we will pass two numbers, integer uh, I, integer j, and then what we will do, suppose we store it in some variable x, we do I plus j, and then we are returning x, right? So now let us try to call this method. Okay, we can call the method only if we have an instance of it. Okay, we have never created an instance of test method, test class, right? So to use now, this add numbers is a member of this test class. Okay, and to access this member, as of now this is just a blueprint or a template. We need some instance, some object on which we can call this method. Okay, this as of now is not in memory, right? Static would be, that we will see later, but as of now consider that there is nothing in the memory. So on what we will call the object, how we will call the, for that we need some instance of this class. So let us create that within our main method, new test. So if you see, there is no constructor that we have defined here, right? This is what we told is we need a constructor to create an object or an instance, right? But have we defined here for this test class any constructor? No, right? So if we do not define any constructor, so the compiler, when it compiles, it will automatically add a no argument constructor. What I mean by that? So as I mentioned, constructors will not have a return value and their name should match the name of the class. Okay. So when compiler compiles, it will automatically add this constructor. Okay, but if you add an constructor already, then it will not add a no argument constructor. Then it will not add something like public car. So if you try to create an object of car, new car like this, it will not allow you because you have created some constructor. So the compiler will not bother and create no argument constructor for everything. Okay, only if you have not added any constructor, then it will create the no argument constructor. So we don't have to create explicitly, we can remove this, and now when it's compiling, the compiler is adding the no argument constructor. It's not taking any input argument. Now, okay, now this object will be available in the memory, and then on this object, so in the IDE, if you do control space, right, it will suggest you what to do. Okay, it will give you suggestions. So that way also you can improve your speed. So we are calling the add numbers. Okay, if you see, not just add numbers, there are many methods here, right? But we have not added them, right? So where are all these methods coming from? Okay, so any class in Java that you write, it inherits the properties of object class. Okay, object is the main parent. Okay, main parent class. You are not explicitly telling something here, right? That it is a child of an object class or something. So what I mean by object is this, right? Object. Okay, this is also a keyword because this is the main class or any class you write in your program. Okay, this will be the first class that uh, our compiler would create. Okay, this is the main class, and this main class, so if I, let me try to open. Okay, I don't have the decompiler. Okay, so this object has, so we have some methods within this object that we can use. So methods like, if you see, clone, equals, finalize, if you see here, object is written, right? So all these methods are already available for us to use. Okay, toString. So when you work more on the projects, then you'll understand, you can use some of them. Okay, so as of now, we want the method that we have written, that is add numbers. If you see, this is in the test class, right? And I'm giving some numbers here, 10, 20, the semicolon. Okay, and this method is returning an integer, right? So we can capture that return in some integer. It need not be x. Okay, we can give any name. Okay, and then if we want to see, then we can use the println. So system is a predefined class, like we have created a test class, right? System.out.println. So system is a predefined class that we can use. It has a method out, and we are calling println on. If I try to open this, let me see. Yeah, okay. So system is a class defined. On this we are calling an out method. Okay, and out method, we will it will return some print string. Okay, and within this print string we are calling the println. Okay, if we go to this, we are calling this method. So from the system class dot out dot println, we are using to just print. Okay, don't bother about the internal working of this, just this is just to make you understand what exactly is happening. Okay, just forget about that. Okay, and then any, so we are printing this any. So let us quickly run this. If you see, it has printed this line as well, then it has printed the addition result. So in this way, any Java object, right, it would have some variables. Okay, we call them as instance variables, and then we have some constructors, and then we have some methods or functions. So this is the basic blueprint of any Java class you write. Okay, and how we construct this classes is by using the new keyword and calling the constructor, whatever constructor we want to use. And we can have multiple constructors. Okay, here we have a constructor using the 2 arguments. If we want a no argument constructor, we can create that, because compiler is not explicitly adding. If we want a 1 argument constructor, string model, right, we can have just the 1 argument constructor. Okay, we can have many constructors like this. Now only thing is, you cannot have same constructor with same type of arguments. Okay, this you cannot have. Okay, you can have integer here, but then you cannot duplicate the type of arguments for the constructors. For methods you can, and that there is a term for it, but for constructors you can't. Okay, so basically any class would have some attributes, variables, whatever we can call, and then it will have some behavior. Okay, some behavior, some constructors. Okay, attributes, constructor, and some behavior of that object. And we can construct this object using the constructor, using the new keyword. Okay, and once we construct the object, now this is the variable that is pointing to this object in the memory. Okay, this will have the address of this, wherever this object is being stored in the memory, will have the address of it. Okay, you can consider that when this is a new kind of house created, and this variable will have the exact house location of this object. Okay, this will have the location of this. Okay, then we will use this we are getting access to the class, and then we will call some method on it. Okay, here we have used this because this knows the location, and then we will call the method that is there in the blueprint. Okay, so now, so when I say it has the, let me show that as well quickly. Okay, I'm printing whatever is there in this test class, right? If you see, it will have a memory location for that object, for this object. Okay,